Antariyascha bahirvidutatimiram jyotirmayam shashvatam sthanam prapya virajate vinamatam ajnanamunmulayan pashyan vishwamapidamullasatiyo vishwasya pare paraha tasmai Sri Ramanaya Loka Gurave Shokasya Hantre Namaha. I am very glad that I am given the opportunity to share few thoughts on this auspicious occasion, remembering Sri Ramana Maharishi. Many of his teachings are grounded on the Veda Vakyas. Though he was not a scholar, Sri Ramana Maharishi, considered as an enlightened soul on his own unique method of self-inquiry. This self-inquiry, Atma Vichara, it is called. Koham iti Atma Vicharaha. Who am I? Through that very path which he extolled it as a direct path, Neradi Marga. It is a direct path because the discussion regarding creation, the universe, and many other such subject matters found in Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, according to him, are only for intellectual satisfaction. The direct path which will lead one to Atma Sakshatkar is only Atma Vichar. He had also mentioned in many places during his conversations with his devotees that one should read the text known as Kaivalya Navaneetham. Nannilam Tandavaraya Swamigal Virajitam. And that Kaivalya Navaneetham is considered as a Tamil version of the concise version of Viveka Chodamani. But as we go through this text, it is very, very interesting. It has appealed to the mind of Sri Bhagavan himself, Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, because it is very simple in approach, but difficult in literature. Tamil composition was, I tried to read, even though I grew up in Tamil Nadu, studied Tamil, yet very difficult to decipher it. I became very curious and started to read the translation. And I found a few of the important points for every sadhaka to understand and practice. A lot of clarification on certain terminologies are found in the text. So today I would like to share a few of the thoughts from Kaivalya Navaneetham with you all. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi had clearly said, Manolaya and Manonasha, they are two different things. Manolayam takes place by even breath control. We find it in Upadesharam also. But he also said, Layagatam punar bhavati no mritam. Layagatam manaha na mritam gacchati. The subsidence of the mind can be obtained by some practices. But the destruction of the mind does not take place without knowing the false nature of the mind through self-enquiry. In Kaivalya Navaneetham, it is referred, this Manonasha is referred as Uruvanasha and Aruvanasha. Uruvanasha is where the Raja and Tamo gunas are destroyed, but Sattva remains. And according to Sri Ramana Maharshi also, this is the state of Jivan Mukta while he is engaged in the world. The pure Sattva, Shuddha Sattvam continues. Why? To face the Prarabdha. Among the three karmas, Sanchita, Agami and Prarabdha karmas, even though by Atmajnanam, Sanchita and Agami karmas are destroyed, Sarvam karmakilam partha jnane parisamapyati iti Bhagavat Vachanam. Bhagavata Krishnena Katitam Bhagavad Gitayam. It is said in Gita by Bhagavan Krishna himself that all actions are destroyed by knowledge. Nahi jnanena sadrsham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing that is more purifying than knowledge. Yet it is held that even though Sanchita and Agami karmas are destroyed, Prarabdha karma continues to be there even in a Jivan Mukta. But the question is whether he suffers out of that karma or not. Does he undergo any kind of sorrow? That is only he would know. So long as the Jivan Mukta Purusha lives in this world, Manonasha takes place as far as the Rajas and Tamas are concerned, but Manaha remains with Sattva for the Jivan Mukta to face the results of the Prarabdha karma. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi would refer this state of mind as the presence of moon on a broad daylight. If you try to notice the presence of the moon in the broad daylight, you will see a very, 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 very obscure vision of the moon. Almost not seen. So is the mind of a Jivan Mukta who remains in this world acting, walking and talking and eating and thinking. But that mind remains undisturbed. Like Bhagavan Shiva has a crescent moon, not a full moon, crescent moon. A thin slice of the moon. Chandra Kala Adar. Chandra Kala. Ekakala. One small string of that moon alone is there. Which is to say, mind is almost gone. And it is there only for him to operate in this world, to be present, but not to trouble him. And the Uruvanasha is the nature of mind in the case of a Jivan Mukta. Aruvanasha, even that pure Sattva which is there, which gets destroyed along with the subtle body at the time of Videha Mukti. When the physical body also is gone, and then subtle body which is operating very, very minutely in the case of a Jivan Mukta, that also disappears and attains the Videha Mukti. Now, our sadhana in our life is how much we take this mind to be so real. And we all know that very mistake that we have done of taking the mind to be real is the cause of all the problems in life. A particular thought comes, and if you do not give attention to it, it will just disappear. Even if you give a little attention to that mind, it will repeat itself. And the moment it repeats itself, the thoughts repeat itself, it becomes so strong, and we have to act on it. Watching the mind and not taking it real or seriously is itself a sadhana. From the standpoint of the self, mind is only an appearance, an illusion. But how does the Jivan Mukta remain so dispassionate? How does his experience about the objects of the world will be? How does he become actionless in the world of action? In other words, what do you mean by actionless nature of this Jivan Mukta? Does he really not act? Remain in one place, doing nothing? So it is said in Kaivalya Navaneetham, Jivan Mukta has three specific traits. Ma Karta, Ma Bhokta, Ma Tyagi. In Sanskrit, Ma means not. Ma Karta means he is not a doer. Ma Bhokta is not an enjoyer. Ma Tyagi, not even he is a Tyagi. He is not even a renunciate. How? Now let us see. Ma Karta means knowing that everything happens because of the presence of consciousness. In the presence of consciousness alone, eyes are able to see, nose is able to smell, etc. Like in the presence of sun alone, we are able to see the world. What is sun doing? It is just being. It is not doing anything. It is just being. In his own presence, in his bright, brilliant presence, the whole world is going about with whatever the things have to be done. Every one of us, morning we wake up as soon as the sun rises, and all of us get to do so many things in the light of the sun. But what is sun doing for it? Nothing. So, in the same way, a Jivan Mukta will see all actions taking place in oneself in the presence of Yasya Sannidhi Matrena, on whose presence of the Atman alone, everything is taking place. Ma Bhokta means, and he experiences everything in this world with no particular raga dvesh. No likes, no dislikes. No wanting, no rejection. It is like the fire into which you put anything, it will consume. Huh? It will not reject anything, nor it wants anything. If you put, it will take it. What taking means what? Burn it. So in life, when experiences take place in our life, do we go after them or go away from them? Certain things we go away from, certain things we go after. Yadrichalapasantushtaha dvandvatito vimatsaraha. Whatever comes, neither I like it, nor I don't like it. Let it be. That is the nature of Mahabhokta, Abhoktrutvam. That is a Jivan Mukta. Akartrutvam, Abhoktrutvam. And again, Ma Tyagi. Tyaga is about giving up. What do you give up? You give up only those which you own. What I do not own, I cannot give up. If I come to your home and give up everything from your home to others, will you like it? When I don't own anything, what is there for me to give up? So a Jivan Mukta will remain in this world like an Aditi. I am here, I own nothing. So when I have nothing that I as of my own, what is there to do as Tyaga? That is why we say everything belongs to God, nothing belongs to me. Therefore, I have no reason to worry about owning or disowning. That is the state of Jivan Mukta. Ishavasyam idagam sarvam yet kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjitaha. Jnanena tyagam. What tyaga? Tyaga is not physically giving up something. Tyaga of the ownership in the mind. I don't own anything. That itself is a great tyaga. So now the question is, what do we call it as Akarta? Who is Akarta? So this question often comes because na kartrutvam na karmani slokasya srijati prabhu na karma phala samyogam svabhavastu pravartate, he says, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan does not create any kartrutva, na bhoktrutva, na karma phala sanyoga. So we, unfortunately, without knowing that, we have the notion of I am the doer. Now, let us look at it a little carefully. Can there be action without an actor? Kartaram vina karmana sambhavati. Without the doer, there cannot be any action. No, let me give an example here. Let us say I am painting a beautiful picture on a canvas. My hand with the brush is picking up the paint and then I'm painting on the canvas. When I observe myself doing that very work of painting, who is the karta? Who is the doer here? My hand. My hand is the doer. My other hand is not the doer. My entire other body parts are not the doer. Only my hand is the doer. So in this example, as I'm painting, there is the action done by the hand. Now what am I doing? Painting. What am I painting? A beautiful picture of a tree. Why am I painting? So I may say, I like to express my imagined tree, the beauty of the tree, onto the canvas. What is that? I'm reproducing the beauty of the imagined tree, and that very imagination I am reproducing on a canvas. Very good. Next question. Does this act of painting make you happy? Oh, yes. Nice. It's making you happy? The very act of painting? Yes. Does it make you sad if you cannot paint? Does it make you sad if you cannot paint? If you say yes, then you are a karta and a bhokta. It makes me happy. It's not making the hand happy. It's not making the brush happy. It's not making the paint happy. It's not making the canvas happy. Even though the karta, physical karta is the hand, but who is the enjoyer of that? So who is the real karta here? By the hand, I, the karta, and with that very action, I, the bhokta. So in this act of painting, I'm not troubling anybody. It's a noble thing. I'm not having any, causing any disturbance to anyone. Therefore, it is an act of sattva, so to say. And because it is an action involved there of me doing, there is a rajas. And because I'm deriving pleasure out of that, it is tamas. Sattva, rajas, and tamas, all of them are mixed up here when I am the karta as well as the bhokta. Doer as well as the enjoyer. So in our life, whenever we derive pleasure out of something and we find unhappiness or sad when we are not able to derive the same happiness again and again, then you understand that the tamas, which is avarana, and rajas, which is viksheba, is mixed up all of them here, and therefore aham karta, aham bhokta. Okay, well, let's come back to the first question again. Does it make you sad if you are not able to paint the picture? If you say no, then you are only a karta, you are not a bhokta. That means the sattva alone remains and rajas and tamas have taken a back seat. This is what is called karma yoga. मैं करता हूं, I'm doing, but I am not unhappy if I am not able to do it, or if the result doesn't happen the way I want, but I continue to do. You are a karta, not bhokta. Now, let us go to the next level. I have imagined a beautiful tree in my mind, and I have the skill to paint. I have a canvas in front of me. I have the paint also. I have the brush also. Everything is ready. But I decided not to paint. Does it make any difference to me by not doing that act? By just withdrawing from that act of painting. The thought has come, but I have decided not to act on it. Who am I then? Then you are Akarta. This choice that you make, that even though the thought has come, even though I have the skill to do it, even though everything is ready for me to engage in that action, I find there's no need. There is no vikshepa, there is no avarana. And I am at that point, I'm having this thought, and the thought, that imagination of a tree is in my mind. I'm just being there. Pure sattva. Now, to get to this point of akartrutvam, one should recognize your doing doesn't make any difference to anything to you. Your not doing also doesn't make any difference. Even if there is a little bit of a feeling of satisfaction, by doing alone I'll be satisfied. By not doing, I may be a little unhappy. Even a wee bit of that is there, you cannot remain actionless. Why it is important for us to know here it is, when Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Summa iru. So, Summa iru means what? Where the thought has arisen, where the thought of doing something comes, question this very thought. Who has this thought? Who wants to act? I. Is this I demands that action? Can this I remain even as the action is withdrawn? Can any difference will it make to that I in doing and in not doing? Let us take another example for you to understand this. I had my lunch, well, nicely prepared food, and I had it, and I'm sitting down. So you ask me, did you have lunch? Yes. Why? Because I was hungry. And what does it mean? Because my body needs to be taken care for its survival. So I took lunch. Okay, that's all fine. Now the body has inside started the process of digestion. So many different processes that are taking place to digest your food. All right. Question is, are you the karta? Do you have any conscious action? Do you have to do any conscious action to digest that food? Really speaking, there is no conscious involvement of you in the digestion process. In this, there is no I-ness. You cannot be proud. You know, nowadays what? I am digesting my food. You cannot own it. It is just happening. Prakritya kriyamanani karmani. In all that which is happening by the Prakriti, aham karta idi yo manyate sayeva ahankari. Ahankarin. I, the doer. That ahankar is only when you own up things which you are actually not doing. It is Prakriti that is doing. It is a nature that is doing. It is a body that is doing it. So do you like or dislike this digestion? There is no question of likes and dislikes here. Whether you like it or not, it is going to happen. So raga dvesh bhi nahi hai. There is no raga dvesha. There is no I-ness. There is no kartrutva bhava. But action is taking place. Are you happy about it? Of course, if I will be unhappy if it doesn't take place. It's a different thing. So are you the karta here? No. Is it taking place? Yes. Like, let's take another example. I take a small plant and I take to my backyard and then plant it there. And water it and then put some fertilizers, all that. After a few days, I see it's beautifully growing. Now again, as you see the beautifully the plant is growing, taking roots in your backyard, the new leaves are coming, new flowers are coming. Now the question is, are you the Karta? Are you the doer? Just like in eating, you had prepared the food and taken the food in your plate and brought it to your mouth and put it in. This much you have done, no doubt. To that extent, you have initiated that action. But the completion of that action is not yours. Similarly, a plant you brought from the store, put it in the ground and planted it, watered it, that's all. Growth of the plant is not because of you. In these examples, what we are trying to achieve is, whenever we take ownership of something, that alone will be the cause of our own sorrow. When you know that I need to do something, and beyond that, my action stops, and I allow it to happen. When you have the knowledge and awareness that my action is only a mere starting point of a process. When I complete mine, I leave it all others to happen. Let it happen. And watch the wonder that takes place. In the Karma Yoga portion of Bhagavad Gita, Tasmad Sarvesh, and the Bhagavan clearly says, Tasmad asakta sadatam karyam karma samachara. Asakto hi acharan karma paramapnodi purushaha. Asangena karma kuru. Do the action with absolute detachment. Do the best. Leave the rest. Gurudev Swami Chinmaya used to say. So, you are expressing your free will to the extent that you are needed to. Beyond that, you are not insisting anything. This is the sadhana part of it. But when a person is reaching a state of mind where even as the thought arises, there is no intention or a desire to act, and he is allowing the thought to arise as well as thought to dissolve, watching it without any participation. That is called a Jivan Muktasya Akartru Swabhava. So in these two aspects of Akarta, one is, though the desire to paint, and you decided to let go without having any reaction in your mind, you are Akarta. When you are doing what you, as the thought arises, you do your best and leave it, you are a Karma Yogi. In these two, Karma Yogi is doing the sadhana of Karma Yoga. Whereas the Jivan Mukta doesn't do the sadhana. It is so swabhav, it's nature for it. As the thought arises and falls, as various intentions and desires arising in his mind and falling away, absolutely no difference in his mind. That is the state of a Jivan Mukta. He watches everything unfolding in front of him with no reaction to it. His Shantamana, mind is so peaceful, having reached the inner bliss, which is undisturbed, unsullied, unpolluted, unagitated, uninitiated. The mind has become so calm, serene, and peaceful. He watches. Prarabdha karmas in front of him come and go. He watches with a smile. Now, when it comes to the question of digestion and many other functions that are taking place, it is not a sadhana. There also I am Akarta, but that is not a sadhana Janita Akartrutvam. It is not a state of actionlessness initiated by any practice. Because even in an ignorant person, the same thing is happening. Even if I say ignorant, foolish person, if he eats also, he also digests, he is also Akarta. But that is not the Jivan Mukti Lakshana. Jivan Mukta Lakshana is where himself doesn't initiate any action. He doesn't participate in the thought that arises him to engage in action. And if at all, even if he does, there is a total detachment from the result of that action. For he knows that if I hold on to the result, insist on the result, then more karmas will come in. Karma alone create new karmas. So that is the beauty. So then in the same Kaivalya Navaneetham, the student is asking this teacher, why then the Upanishads declare a Jivan Mukta as Kritakritya? Kritakritya means whatever he needs to be done is done. What do we mean by that? Kritakritya, what is that? For which the answer is given, those who are in the state of ignorance, ajnanam, do three kinds of actions. One, to enjoy the world of objects, experiencing the objects, they do action. That's what we do day in and day out. We go on trying to experience various things, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. All those activities we engage in because that makes us feel satisfied, sensory satisfaction. There are second category of people who are also Gyani only, ignorant. Those who may not be interested in the objects of this world, but they want heavens. They want various other lokas to go and experience. So they engage in rituals, yajna, yagadi, karma. They are also in the same field of ignorance only. The third category of people are those who neither want the mere experiences of, fleeting experiences of the sensory world, nor do they want the heaven, etc. But they want to engage in acquiring knowledge. So they engage in actions like Shravanam, Mananam, Ityadi. But a Jivan Mukta is one, none of these three he will do. Neither he is interested in experiencing the objects of the world through senses. He is not interested in going to different various spheres of existence called Swarga Adi Loka. Also, he has no need to engage any further on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Ityadi, because his abidance in the self is complete. There is nothing more to listen, nothing more to meditate on, nothing more to reflect upon. Having known I am that, he remains actionless. And therefore, for him, all actions have come to an end. Everything as though he has fulfilled. Therefore, he is called Krita Kritya. Whatever needs to be done, he has already done. Krita Kritya. That's why Krityamasti kim swastitim gata. What is there for him to do any further, having reached the self in which he is completely fulfilled? But then the question is, if a Jivan Mukta, when he says, I'm eating, I'm talking, I'm walking, I'm thinking, so does it not mean he's also like any other ordinary person who says in the same way? So for which the answer is, a Jivan Mukta would state this kind of statement, I am eating, I am talking, etc. But in the same way as a person who woke up from the dream speaking about what he dreamt. If somebody says, yesterday I had a wonderful dream, I'll tell you. Now, when you are listening to a person who is talking about his dream, how much interest you will have? Because it is his own mind that has created it. You may probably, if he's a friend, you may give your ears for that. But how much reality would you give, or how much reality that person will give after having made that statement? I went to different places here and there, and that's and that. And after some time, he'll say, however, it never happened. After having elaborately explained about his dream, what does he say at the end? After all, it's just a dream. Nothing happened. True. That would be the way a Jivan Mukta would talk about what he did. Whatever he has accomplished, whatever he has experienced, his state of mind is that even though I say I am walking, I'm talking, I did this, I did, nothing is true. See, understand, Jiva is none other than the Chidabhasa, which the genuine Jivan Mukta is not. But for others, he will appear like a Chidabhasa, a reflection of consciousness. Once it so happened, it is stated here by the commentator of this Kaivalya Navaneetham. He says that Sri Ramana Maharshi, when he was there at the ashram, once it so happened, he as well as the people who assembled there saw a picture. And after some time, it was not there. So everybody started to search here, there, to look for that picture where it is. Whereas Ramana Maharshi quietly is watching all of them searching for it, and he didn't do anything. So in that crowd, one Mr. Friedman was from Poland. He asked him to Ramana Maharshi, you also saw the picture, and why are you not surprised that it has disappeared? You also saw the picture as we also saw, but when it disappeared, they are all searching for it, but you are not at all doing anything. Why? For which Ramana Maharshi said, if you dreamed yesterday that you have taken me to your homeland, Poland, and after waking up, if you ask me if I also dreamed of going to Poland, what would be my answer? What would be my answer? So Friedman said, so the picture we saw earlier, as well as its disappearance, both are not true? Ramana Maharshi smiled and said, it's all the play of the mind. The maya of the mind only. And therefore, knowing that, I just kept quiet. No, to be in the presence of a Mahatma and tuning our mind to the way he thinks, the way he responds to the world, the way he feels the world, the way he experiences the world. If you can tune our mind to that, the experience is totally different. On the other hand, what we do is, we keep ourselves engaged in being with the people of the world who are constantly going through joys and sorrows, fighting for this and that. And when we associate our mind with them, unfortunately, we will also go through the same thing. That is the reason why it is said, engage in satsanga, be in the company of the wise who are having a totally lofty, higher vision of everything. They may be looking like ordinary people, but the way they look at the world of difference, far apart from all others. Now, it is said that the actions of the past, punya karmas, are very important for an individual in the present life condition to become a sadhaka. So the past good deeds can by itself give the Atmajnanam and Atma Sakshatkar. If it can, then what is the need for Atma Vichar? Self-inquiry. The answer to that is action, good actions, noble actions performed for many lives can only give Chitta Shuddhi, purity of mind. Even such a pure mind without the pursuit of Atmajnanam, Tada Atma Vichar, will be still in bondage only. Even if the person has done very noble actions of the past, in the past, and has become mentally pure, such a pure mind must glide into the practice of Atma Vichar, and then alone is Atma Sakshatkar possible. Doing good to the world is good. That is preparation. Now the thing is, if the Atma Jnana takes place, and it is said, Jnanam is Virodhi of Ajnana. Ajnanasya Virodhi Atma Jnana. If that is the case, having gained the Atma Jnanam, how can a Jnani will come back to this world filled with people of ignorance? How does he engage? How is it possible for him to connect with people who are still in the world of ignorance? For which the beautiful answer is given by Kaivalya Navaneetham here. There are two kinds of knowledge. One is called Swarupa Jnanam, another is called Vritti Jnanam. Self-knowledge and objective knowledge. Swarupa Jnanam is Yathartha Jnanam. In this Yathartha Jnanam is always there. Yathartha means not only it is natural, swabhavikam, but also it is unchanging, eternal. It doesn't contradict ignorance at all. Please note. Because Sushuptyavasthayam api, even in the state of deep sleep, the Swarupa Jnanam is present while ignorance is also present. That's the best example you can give. Whereas the objective knowledge, Vritti Jnanam, is absent in deep sleep. What is Vritti Jnanam? Knowledge about the objects, knowledge gained through the senses, knowledge gained through the mind and intellect. This is called Vritti Jnanam. Vritya Janitam Jnanam Vritti Jnanam. Knowledge born out of mind, thoughts. The thoughts being absent in the case of deep sleep, there cannot be Vritti Jnanam during the time of deep sleep. But the Swarupa Jnanam is continuing to be there even in the absence of Vritti Jnanam in the deep sleep and in the presence of ignorance. Therefore, self-knowledge is not contradictory to ignorance, whereas Vritti Jnanam is. So your statement that Atmajnani is incapable of being there in the presence of people or in the world of ignorance is not correct. Number one. Number two, what happens is during this time of Atma Vichar, trying to find the nature of oneself through discarding all vrittis, what happens is the Swarupa Jnanam also becomes a very fine, extremely pure Vritti Jnanam, which is capable of destroying ignorance. Vrittirupena tishtati, Vrittirupena hanyate Jnanam. Upon the destruction of the Ajnanam, Swarupa Jnanam remains as a pure thought in the mind of a Gyani. And that is not an objective knowledge, but it is similar to or appearing in the shape of a Vritti Jnanam. That is the reason why, Vritti Jnanam, when it is absent in deep sleep, cannot destroy ignorance. So how is that possible for Swarupa Jnanam or the Atma Jnana capable of destroying ignorance while it doesn't do in the deep sleep? Vritti Jnanam is absent in deep sleep, therefore it cannot destroy the ignorance. But whereas the Swarupa Jnanam is present in deep sleep along with the Jnana, but it is not destroying. Beauty is, in the Atma Vichar, this Swarupa Jnanam takes the form of a Vritti. And that Vritti goes and destroys the Ajnana. That is the reason why in deep sleep, one cannot realize. Only when the state of waking, while the Vritti Jnanam is still present, with the help of the pure mind, with the fine-tuned intellect, that very Atma Jnanam itself will destroy that ignorance. The example that is given is, sunlight is everywhere. Sunlight is everywhere, all over present when the sun is up in the sky. But sun doesn't burn anything until you bring a lens through which the sunlight passes through, and then it becomes a concentrated light and it burns away everything that is in front of it. In the same way, Atma Jnanam functioning through the refined mind and intellect, with the mind that is extremely concentrated and pure, can destroy ignorance. And such an individual who has thus destroyed the ignorance, even as he is present in the world which is filled with people of ignorance, he will remain untouched. And that is the reason why Mahatmas, Jivan Muktas, who even though they have they are abiding in the nature of the self, Ananda Swarupa Atmani Nishta Api, even though they are abiding in the higher self, they are with the detached mind, they are able to watch the world which is filled with ignorance and illusion. And whenever needed, to whomever it is, whoever deserves it, to such a person, they are able to impart the knowledge. And only such deserving people would be able to even get the proximity of great Mahatmas, to get their knowledge, to get their grace, and able to proceed further. And this way, there are so many beautiful ideas are present in this Kaivalya Navaneetham. Many of you might have already been familiar with that. And it gave me great delight to read very, very subtle subject. Very many beautiful, deep questions are answered. In the second section of Kaivalya Navaneetham, it is about removing the doubts. First one was revelation of truth, and second one is removal of the doubts. Total close to around, together, both the parts together, there are close to around 300 verses, less than that. And very interesting thing, and that is why highly recommended by Sri Ramana Maharshi for the sadhakas to read, reflect, practice, and slowly engage in Atma Vichar and intensely practice in every occasion, every situation, in every possible moments of our life, waking life, to overcome self-created, ignorance-created delusions, confusions, inadvertences, erroneous behavior, negativities, impurities, overcome all of them, then become blissful, joyful. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.